How's it? Gavin here from the old Parakao store. So we're doing a bit of work on our 30 Plymouth chassis as well. We've still got a diff to pick up for that and gearbox, but it's starting to come together, so we're doing a bit of work on that. And we're going to move this thing forward a bit too.
But he will.
Yeah, but we'll move it forward a bit as well.
Oh, okay.
If we can. Because this is all going to be boxed in, and I'm going to use the heavier shit.
Yep.
Because it's going to have the mounts for the engine. So we'll bolt that front end in nice and good like, and then we can set it upside down, bolt it in.
So the front end that's coming, it's got springs there and everything. Okay, so we put it straight on there.
Maybe.
We got Rob's old 38 front end that's had these brackets made up for disc brakes, and it's had bushes stuck on the old stubs so the hole and disc brakes fit it. So we split the chassis and we're going to move the front out about 30 mils to fit the springs, and then we'll weld our cross member back in, adjust our crossbars, our steel turned up finally, so we can start fabbing the floor. But we've pretty much come to the conclusion, because we've widened this chassis slightly, that we can't build that on the old chassis. So we're going to put the motor and box in this, the diff, the front end, get it a roller, and then we'll transport the body onto this chassis and fab the floor. Channeled it over the chassis, and I want to put a tunnel in it. So because we've custom built this chassis, it's not going to work building it on the old chassis. But yeah, that's where we're up to. So we're going to box this in. So for now I'm just going to clean up this front end a bit and get it mounted on there so we can work out how wide we've got to make this chassis. Just using the springs off this old chassis. It's been sitting for a long time, but they were all rebushed and in pretty good nick. Ground off the rivets, and we're going to change the spring hanger to the Chev one because the hole's wider, and the ones I've got are all nicely brass bushed. So we'll get that done. So we've got the 38 front end bolted in and one of the discs on it, and it's starting to come together. And I think we only had to relieve that chassis, not even, it'd be millimeters, probably 5 mils either side. So the cross member's pretty much going to work, and a little bit of adjustment in the front. But we'll get all that tacked in. I'll get the other disc on. I'm not going to worry about the calipers yet, they've got to be all rebuilt. Just want to get it into a roller. So I'm hoping we can use a Chev steering box, which will bolt to the 38 steering arm. And I've got some later model pickup steering boxes there that might even work. But yeah, we'll get it the chassis welded up first, and flipped over into a roller, and then we'll work out the engine mounts and steering box and foot pedals. Right, we've got the 38 front end in, and I've done all that, and then I've just realised that if I had to put this 39 front end on it, it's got bolts for telescopic shocks, but never mind, we can swap it out later. At the moment, I've got to do the wheel bearings and get the disc going, so I could probably just swap it out maybe. I think they're exactly the same except for the telescopic shocks. So we got the front end cross member lined up, so I think we went maybe 10 mil either side wider, and the cross member actually fits to pretty much where it was, so but I just didn't want those springs under tension when it was sitting in there, so we've eased it a little bit. It probably wouldn't be more than about 10 mil the whole thing, but should be all go. We'll weld her up, flip her over. So we're getting it done. Front end's all bolted up. I've welded in the X member or cross member. Welded in the stays back where the back axle joins. Got it all squared up straight, hopefully. Welded the front cross member in. Now we just got to flip her over, and there's a little bit more welding to do on the top side of it, and then we're going to box in all these from the cross member to the front and make our engine mounts when we get the motor and gearbox sitting in there. We'll do the diff first. We're going to go and get the diff. We're going to go and get the gearbox. Motor's in the shed. So yeah, flip this over, finish up the welding, put the diff in it, which should just bolt in, and then we just need to put the gearbox on the motor and get it sitting where we want it, and then build engine mounts, gearbox mounts, and we pretty much should have just about a roller. And we can start working on the body. If you like our content, like, share and subscribe, and helps us out, helps the store out. It's most appreciated.
Okay.